Okay. Hello, everybody. Tonight we are going to talk about um we're going to talk about inviting. We're going to talk about different ways to invite, different avenues to invite to, different maybe times of the month that you should be inviting to one thing versus another. It's kind of up to you. But I find that sometimes it's easy to focus on, okay, this week I'm going to invite to the business. Next week, I'm going to invite to the challenge group. So the first thing you want to do is you want to know what you're inviting to, right? So you want to have your next health and fitness challenge group up and running, ready to go. So that you know what the date is of your next group that you're inviting to. He just climbed completely under the blanket. So you want to know exactly what you're inviting to. Some other things that you can be inviting to is the business opportunity, or a bod group that you may have up and running. So that might be for current customers who aren't going to make a purchase. So you should kind of always have, I have a bod group that's ongoing, so that if a Beachbody customer comes in or a customer comes back, I have a bod group that I can invite them to. So some of my invites are, hey, this is something that I have for my customers. Would you like to come into a bod group on the app where you can track your fitness, your nutrition, your, all of the things. And so and I sometimes say, if you're not on social media, this is a good option. And a lot of people are like, oh, thank you, because I am not on social media. So it gives that option for people to have somewhere to go. And then when I am, sorry, I'm just going to mute everyone real quick. And then when I am inviting to a specific challenge group like job 1 on 2/7, I'm either inviting them to join the Facebook group or inviting them to join a bod group that I'll be opening just for job 1. And then you want to be inviting also to the business opportunity, whether we have a sneak peek coming up or currently this morning, we have that coffee chat recorded. So that's sitting there for you to use anytime now. So you don't have to wait for a business opportunity. So if someone gives you an objection of, I don't have money, you can present the business opportunity and say, hey, I have a, 25-minute video that my coach just did that talks about what we do as coaches. Is that something you have time to listen to, or that you could listen to? So those are things you want to be inviting to. An ongoing bod group, a new bod group, the business opportunity, anyone to just kind of join you in any of those avenues. What I like to do since the beginning of time in Beachbody is I always like to have a list, right? And every quarter I will rewrite my list because I like a fresh list. Like some of my lists have scribbles and dates and notes next to them. And I like to start a fresh list every quarter. And I may take from previous lists of people that I've already invited, but they're not currently in a group with me. And I'll start with those people. So I'll flip back in my notebook and I'll write a fresh list of all the people that I have invited before, but kind of said not right now, right? And then I'll take other people that are watching my stories, that are commenting on my news feed, and I'll start putting them on a list. And I go down my list, 10 people per day, and I just either see what they're up to, check in on them, depending on the last time I spoke with them. I'll go and comment and like on their social media. I will send them a message asking how they are, or if it's someone that I've been talking to or that I invited in the past, I'll say, hey, I wanted to just jump in here real quick and let you know that I have A new group starting on an accountability group starting on February 7th. Not sure if you've been paying attention to my social media, but I'm doing a 20-minute program and it's been a lifesaver right now with my busy schedule. And that's what we're doing again. And I wanted to just reach out and see if you were interested. And then depending on what they say, we go back and forth on what they're doing. And then go back to that first bit that I told you. No matter what they say, get them into something. So, you know what? I actually still have my bod. I was thinking of doing 21-day fix. Get them in your ongoing bod group or your ongoing Facebook group. Like, get them plugged in somewhere. And then if they say, yeah, 20 minutes, tell me, I did see that, tell me a little bit more, and just be real, be normal, just have a normal conversation. Don't try to go and look up what job one is officially in Beachbody. Just talk to, yeah, it's been great. 20 minutes, super effective. It's got cardio, strength, core. I'm absolutely loving it. The trainer's brand new. She's amazing. She came over from Peloton. We love her. It's been great, and just kind of have that back and forth conversation. When it gets down to like pricing or decision making, something I like to lead with when I'm inviting is, do you have a budget in mind that you'd like to spend on your package to get started or get restarted? And that just gives me an avenue to go to, so that if $160 is not even close, it usually is. A lot of people are like, I don't know, like 150, $200. Like they don't, nobody's ever said $20. Or if they have, then I'm like, okay, how can I, what can I help you get started with for $20? And I'll go and I'll see if I can get them some samples of Shakeology. The dog is stuck in the blanket. He's trying to get out of the big blanket. Oh my God, he's stuck. So I might say, is there a reason why you don't think that you could invest a little bit more on a package? Depending on kind of where the conversation goes, you can feel out where it would go. But you can certainly fit someone into $20 trying, trying bod or something, some samples of Shakeology, maybe something along those lines. He's free. So the other thing is, you want to be inviting on your news feed. So every few days, I'll post my morning workout or like a selfie of me, and I'll talk about my story having to do with my health and fitness. And at the end, I'll say something like, we have a new group starting on February 7th. Raise your hand if you want to learn more. Or, we have room for you and my inbox is always open, or something where it gives them a call to action. So they know that if they are interested, they know where to go to find more information. So you want to be doing that on your news feed at least 3 times a week, and have that be something where you're talking something about your story first, and then either ask that at the beginning or ask that at the end of the conversation. And then you also want to be inviting in your stories. I was inviting to the coffee chat in my stories this week. I was inviting on my news feed. Now I will shift that and invite to the job one group, and I'll shift it from news feed to stories, to Facebook stories, to Instagram stories, and I'll just kind of alternate so that all week a public invite is going out there to my audience, so they know where to go and what to do to learn more. All right. So making sure you're alternating that. There was something I was going to say. An event. You can open up an event for your job one and kind of use that as a sneak peek, where you're just kind of inviting to, you're putting the event together, and instead of automatically adding people to groups, you can invite them to the event, and you can share that publicly on your stories. You can share that publicly on your news feed with a little, blurb about what it is. And you want to just be heavily talking about life, and still do all of your normal social media stuff, but at least once a day you're inviting on your stories, you're inviting on your news feed, and you're sharing in the event. And you're pulling that event to your news feed and your stories at least 3 times a week as well, so that people know that that's there. Here's a place to come learn more type thing. So it's an avenue where they can learn more. You could also do a recording, do a video real quick about everything job 1. You can do that live. You can do that in your stories. You can post it in your challenge group, getting ready to do round 3 for job 1, and go through and make sure you're talking. You also want to use your voice memo in your invites and your messages. And that's a great way, especially I do that a lot when I'm talking back and forth and they're like, oh, tell me more. I'll do a recording. I'll be like, oh, it's kind of hard to type this all out. I wanted to do this real quick. And I'll do a recording to tell them a little bit so they can hear my voice and my excitement. And then the most important part after all of this is follow up, right? You've got to make sure you are following up within 24 to 48 hours of your conversations. If someone says no, you're obviously not following up, and you've already kind of closed the door. You've gone through, okay, my inbox is always open. Please let me know. Would you like to know when we're starting our next group? Something like that, so that you can kind of leave the conversation going. Or sometimes I'll say, okay, are you doing something else for your health and fitness right now? And I'll just kind of keep the conversation going to try to see where it's going to end. And then, but the people who you are talking to, you really want to get 24 to 48 hours. What are you thinking? Did you have time to watch that video? Did you look at the posts I did in the event? What are some objections and fears that you're feeling? And just kind of see if you can close the deal. So I'm going to challenge you. It's Sunday night. Next Sunday night is January 30th. I'm going to challenge you to hit Success Club. If you're doing all of this, if you're going through your list, you're posting in your stories or your news feed every day with a public invite, you have an event going that you're posting in every day, you're talking to your current challengers, you have past people that have said no in the past, you're sharing a lot of stuff everywhere, you should easily be talking to 25 or more people this week with all of those places. You're going to be surprised with that consistency and how easy it is to have these conversations where maybe in the past you've only done it once a week. You've only talked to 2 people a day. You haven't ever really asked in your stories. You maybe only do that once a month. But if you can get really consistent this week with having all of those places and those tools for you to invite people to and use for inviting, you're going to be surprised on how many conversations you have going. And like I said, I've only given you an ongoing group, a job 1 group, or invite them to listen to the coffee chat video. So I've only given you really 3 places that you're inviting people to, right? Because if you start just being like, I'm going to invite people to learn about the entire library of what we have, right? Like it's just too much. Just kind of the same thing with your niche, right? Your audience. So like, who are you targeting? You've got to be very clear on that, because then your social media will look like that. Like my social media, I am talking to moms. I have other people on the team that aren't moms, but I'm very clear on talking to moms every day. And it might hit other people that are looking to be moms, are, have already gone through that phase in life, but they can offer some advice of what I'm going through right now in this stage of life as a mom. So there's ways that you want to just really hone in on who you're talking to. It becomes way easier to manage your social media when you know exactly who you're talking to. And then the content is easier, the stories are easier. It just comes way more natural instead of just casting, the big broad net and not knowing where it's going to land. So you want to just be very clear on who your audience is, and then just get inviting to it. Don't worry about saying the wrong thing. Don't worry about any of that. Just literally use all of those places that I just shared with you. Get that list growing, send some friend requests, follow some more people, get those stories up and running, try some reels so that you have new people that are getting eyes on you. The consistency in stories will make a huge, huge difference. And remember, people like to talk about themselves. So when you ask questions on your social media for people to answer, they like that. Like, people love answering things on polls, or if you ask a question in your post, people love talking about themselves. Something like, has this ever happened to you? And you're just talking about things, and you're going to get a lot of comments. And then you're going to, like, there are people this past week with everything that I've been sharing going on with Samantha. I have no idea who these people are, where they came from. Had no idea they were watching. Like, I'll click on the thing. I'm like, oh, we've been friends. Let me go see who this person is. And it just gives me another person to interact with on social media that I have completely forgotten about. So cool. Any questions? I know that was fast, but I like to keep it in 20 minutes. So you can go back and pause when I get the recording up. Any questions, any tips, anything that you think you want to do this week that you haven't been doing that you heard?
I have to get better about inviting in my stories.
Good reminder.
Yeah, I think for me, I've got to hone in on nutrition. So I think that's going to be, I did no sweets last week, and I think I'm going to do nutrition this week just to get more people on board.
Great. Oh, you're muted, Christina. Sorry.
I always fail on that one. I'm also going to start inviting on my stories because I normally don't do that, but now I will be doing it frequently. So I also started talking to my group. I published a message regarding the business opportunity because I know when several of them got included in the group, originally they were interested in the business, and then they didn't talk about that anymore. So now I will find out.
I found with this, switching this up and not just having the Facebook sneak peek, that we already have over like 20 something views on the video just from this morning.
Wow.
So I think switching that up was a good call. I think people like to just watch one quick recording instead of having to worry about a whole day of things that they want to watch or read through. So it'll sit there. I'll record another one when I do. I'm going to do like a happy hour on a Friday night. So I'll record that one too. So I'll record all the ones that I end up doing so that they're fresh based on that time of year. Like today's talked about getting into the February coach group. So that's gonna not be as effective if we're sending that one in February. So or March. So I want to make sure we have new and fresh ones always there for people, for you guys to send that out. Because I think I mean, that's what I used to send a long time ago and until sneak peeks came, and sneak peeks were great in the beginning, but I think they've lost their luster a bit. So I think this is a good thing to have recordings sent to. And then you can ask them when you send the recording, you know, what did you hear in the video that piqued your interest, and get the conversation going.
Finding too that people seem to like the chat pods better
Yep.
than anything else, really.
Yep.
And it feels more like you can be more natural in there about what you're eating or drinking or whatever, because that's what it's for, right? I'm just getting a lot more engagement by putting some of my people into chat pods, and then they're interacting with each other, and some of them are using Beachbody products, some of them aren't, but then they're talking about it. So, you know, it seems to be like just getting better responses from it.
Great.
And seeing who I think makes potential, you know, future great coaches, because they're in there going, oh my gosh, you know, that's amazing. And, you know, you're awesome. And, you know, and sharing their tips and all that too. So
The great thing about chat pods too is they don't necessarily have to be scrolling a Facebook feed or an Instagram feed. They can go to that part of their app and just go to Messenger and start looking, or on their phone in a text thing, whatever you got, however you get the pod going. But it's not like they have to get themselves into where they could potentially not enjoy, you know, people aren't enjoying social media as much these days. And so, yeah, so that's great. Awesome. All right, so the challenge this week is to hit Success Club, have 3 people get started on, I mean, shoot for a job 1 challenge pack, just because it's easier to go for one thing, but you can always just put them in the annual bod one too. But it's just good to kind of have one avenue so that you're just clear on what you're inviting to. Plus they get the bands, and, you know, for the same price as an all access. Right now they're both $160, so it doesn't make much sense to not get the job 1 unless they already have the bands and don't want them or whatever. All right, so we will do that. I'm gonna hit stop recording, and hopefully these invite tips will help you on your way this week.